After intensive study into many major human performance and instructional models, I have derived my own model for consideration. Called the Iterative Modules of Instruction model, this model guides the practitioner through the process of developing modules of instructional material. Each module is created to help learners master concepts and continue doing so until they have fulfilled the SMART goals covered at the beginning of the design. First, the practitioner starts with the problem determination phase, where the SMART goals are developed. This phase can certainly make use of instructional models like Bloom's taxonomy to write the goals. The practitioner should also consider the learner's environment at this stage. Are there workplace or classroom impediments that are going to derail learning? Planning with these in mind should help eliminate some friction in the learning process. Next, the practitioner should use their learning objectives to design assessment. This doesn't mean a multiple choice test every time. Instead, think how a learner could show that they learned the material. Once assessment is designed, learning should be broken up into segments. How long will your learner have to master the concepts? How often will they work at it? Don't overwhelm your learner, but plan manageable chunks of concepts for one sitting if possible. The next portion of the model borrows the majority of the pebble in the pond model. Here the practitioner should design a progression of problems for the learner to work through, then design instruction to help the learner acquire the skills needed. The practitioner will then design instructional strategy enhancements before finalizing the instructional design. The practitioner should now have their first module of learning in hand. Repeat this step for each segment of instruction planned in the previous step. This is where the modules in Iterative Modules of Instruction comes from. With instruction planned, it is now time to deliver it to the learners. At this stage, learners will work through the design problems in guided and independent practice. Guidance should diminish steadily over time. Once the instruction has been delivered, it is time to deliver the pre-planned assessment. This will provide the practitioner with useful data on whether or not the learners mastered the concepts. If they perform poorly, reteaching should be done. If not, move on to assessing the entire process done up to this point. Replicate the things that worked well, but spend time reviewing each component of the model. Was the assessment fair and accurate? Were there unexpected hurdles in the environment? Fix these to the best of your ability and move forward with the next iteration of the model. This is my first time designing an instructional design module, so there are admittedly some shortfalls in my approach. There are strengths too. Let's look at each of those in turn. The strengths of the model are that iterations and thus adjustments to planning happen quickly. The model also works well for online learning, which is often already broken up into modules. In addition to that, practitioners are given freedom to decide what works best for their learners. The downfall is that the model doesn't explicitly feature the building of metacognition in learners. This could certainly be placed in the design of materials and should be, but there is no explicit call for it to happen. The review process is done at the end of the design iteration. This is how I prefer to do reflection, but I could see this being a drawback if something needed to improve earlier in the process. Lastly, there is no explicit process for learners to have choice in their learning. This is something I will continue to ponder and consider adding once I better understand how and where it fits. All in all, this model works for my current needs. It was inspired by the work I do on my YouTube channel and in my career as a technical course developer. I love the flowchart nature of the Mager and Pipe human performance technology model, and so included some elements of it in my design. I'm also a huge fan of the pebble in the pond model, which I copied much of. Bloom's taxonomy will always be with me due to my time in education, and so I included room for it to fit at the beginning. I hope what I have designed inspires you to think more deeply about your practice. Let me know what you think in the comments below.